Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss one reading passage, how to solve reading passage in at least 15 to 17 minutes, and what is the strategy to solve true, false, not given questions and blanks, and which paragraph contain the following information type of questions. So let's get started with our reading passage, that is brain activating. What is our strategy to solve this reading passage? That we will read thoroughly the whole passage for at least 2 minutes. For at least 2 minutes, we will read this reading passage, and after that, within 13 or 15 minutes, we will solve this whole passage. So let's get start with the reading passage. There is a paragraph A. We will just underline the important keywords an important person's name and years. For example, in a paragraph, in 1937, the great neuroscientist Sir Charles Scott Sherrington of the University of Oxford. So, whatever keyword that you find important, you have to just underline that words without thinking twice. If you don't know the meaning of that word, that doesn't matter. You just have to underline or circle the important words. Then we will move to our second paragraph. In this B paragraph, although Sherrington probably didn't realize it at the time, his poetic metaphor contained an important scientific idea, that of the brain revealing its inner workings optically, understanding how neurons work together to generate thoughts. We have to underline the important words in at least 2 or 3 minutes. You can't waste a lot of time in thoroughly reading the whole passage. Like in C paragraph, there is a mention of engineering, there is a mention of visualizing and approach, neurons remotely, light switch, physicians, medical disorders, neuroscientist, and in next D paragraph, enchanting the loom attempts to turn Sherrington's vision into reality began in earnest in the 1970s. Like digital computers, nervous systems run on electricity. Neurons encode information in electric signals and or action potential. AA battery induce a nervous cell neurotransmitter molecules that then activate, inhibit, connects, voltage changes by staining neurons. Then there is E paragraph, dyes can also reveal neural firing by reacting, not voltage. You just have to underline. Like University of California in 1918, a particular scientist named brightly processing. Then next there is F paragraph and G paragraph. Synthetic dyes. Now there is a mention of synthetic dyes suffer from a serious drawback. However, neural tissue is composed of many different cell types. Estimates suggest that a brain of a mouse, for example, houses many hundreds of types of neurons. Particular circuit works, but because synthetic dyes stain all cell types indiscriminately, it's generally impossible to trace. Next, we have G paragraph. Optogenetics emerged from realization that genetic manipulation might be the key to solving the problem of indiscriminate staining. There is a dopamine mention, neurotransmitter transmitter mention, and now dopaminergic living brain synthetic dyes, gene, protein, in each paragraph, the first demonstration that genetically encoded from teams E. Rothman jellyfish. There is a particular marine organism, that is jellyfish, voltage of signal. So in 2 to 3 minutes, you have to read thoroughly the reading passage. Then we will solve the questions. Our first 1 to 5 questions are true, false, not given. So I will give you strategy to solve true, false, not given question. True statement is that statement that is as it is given statement with synonyms. With synonyms. And what is false statement? False statement, that statement which is given in the passage, which is given in the passage, but with wrong information. Like there is one particular word and then there is one particular year or a number that is wrong. For example, in passage there is information that he has 4 cars. So in true information they mention that he has 4 vehicles, or you can say 4 cars as it is. That is a true statement. If there is a statement in the question that he has 3 cars, so obviously in the passage it is given that he has 4 cars, but in the question that he has 3 cars, so obviously this is a false statement. So what is a not given statement? Not given statement is that he has scooter. You can say that this is totally a not given information, or you can say that he has cars. How many cars? So not given information is particular. Information is not given when the information is not given, or there is incomplete information, then that question is not given. So this is a whole strategy to solve the questions that are true, false, or not. So now we will try to solve some true, false, not given questions that are 1 to 5 questions. First question is, Sherrington's imaginary picture triggered scientists' enthusiasm of discovering how the whole set of neurons operates. One thing you have to remember, that if there is yes no not given question, then you will answer in yes or not given, and if there is a question in true, false, not given, then you will answer in true, false, not given. Don't do this mistake that you will use yes instead of true. No, then the question will be incorrect, or they will not give you any mark for that question. So our first question is, Sherrington's imaginary picture triggered scientists' enthusiasm of discovering how the whole set of neurons operates. So what the person or what the question is telling us, that Sherrington's imaginary picture triggered. Triggered means it gives a different definition. For scientists, they are for those scientists who are discovering whole set of neurons operates. So where is the mention of Sherrington's imaginary picture? Where is the total mention of the painting? So we will move to our passages, and I think it's in the B paragraph. It's in the B paragraph where there is a mention of Sherrington's painting, that his poetic metaphor. Poetic metaphor. What is a poetic metaphor? This is a synonym. This is a synonym of, for what? This is a synonym for painting. So you should aware of some synonyms that can be used in the questions or in the passage. The information will not be given as it is in your passage, that will be given in synonym form. So here, this is the mention that the poetic metaphor contained an important scientific idea, that of the brain revealing its inner workings optically, understanding how neurons work together to generate thoughts. And behavior remains one of the most difficult open problems in all of the biology. So how brain activate, that become the problem for the biology, for the scientist. So obviously the information is given and the information is correct, that his poetic, his paintings create a hustle for the scientists, that how neurons operate for the biology is used as a synonym here. So this information is obviously true. This is a IELTS we were reading, so obviously it is a tough one reading, and you should focus on IELTS fever readings, because if you want to score at least your desired band score like 6 7, then you have to solve these readings, because in actual examination this type of reading you have to face. So the second question is, a jumped up domain optogenetic is a pure unexpected accident. That they want to say that there is some domain that is optogenetic, that is unexpected accident, means introduction of optogenic is unexpected accident. There is no particular research is uh, there's no particular research did by some scientist. It is just an accident. So we will move to our paragraph C, where there is a mention of optogenetics. So there is a mention of optogenetics, that already investigators have succeeded in visualizing the function of various group of neurons. Scientists efforts led to scientist efforts led to means there is a particular research that is did for that is done for optogenetics. It doesn't come by any way. There is a particular engineering optics and there is a particular genetics that is used for this optogenetic field. There are some efforts are that had been done for this optogenetics engineering. That is not a particular accident, it is a total study that is for optogenetics. So obviously the information is not given. There is not particular information is given that the unexpected, there is a particular unexpected accident. There is only information given that there is a whole study, there is a whole information investigations done, but there is no mention of pure unexpected accident. So the information is half information is given, so this information is not given. Third one is electric tension is one key component to realize the communication between neurons. That there is a electric tension, that is one key component to realize the communication between neurons. Means there are some digital signals are used for the communication in neurons. So in the paragraph D, there is a second line that enchanting the loom attempts to turn Sherrington's vision into reality began in earnest in 1917. The like digital computers nervous system in on turn run on electricity, neurons encode information in electric signals. So obviously there is some particular type of electric signals or electric tension. So obviously information is given, so this information is true. I just want to give you strategy to solve the reading passage, that you can use 2 minutes for reading thoroughly the passage, and then You can use your 14 to 15 minutes for solving the questions. But I am solving here, I am giving you instructions how to solve the questions, so I am consuming a lot of time, but you will not have that enough time to solve this question, so you have to answer this question quickly. So the fourth question is, the variations of voltages is the sole response that the coloration of related neurons could provide when neural discharge take place. Means there is only variation of voltage, that is the sole response for the coloration of related neurons. So we will check that is it correct or not. In the paragraph E, first line, dyes can also reveal neural firing. Means dyes is the other option to show the neural firing. So there is not a particular only voltage changes that will react neural firing. So there is another way, that is dyes. So obviously there is another way. So the answer to this question, fourth, that is false. They told us there is a only variation of voltage is a sole response for the coloration. But in the paragraph E, there is a mention that dyes can also do coloration. So this information is whole information is given, but the one word that is wrong, that is sole response, so the information is false. Next, the fifth question is, the vital defect synthetic dyes possesses is the most challenging obstacle for researchers to overcome. That the vital defect synthetic dyes possesses, that is the most challenging obstacle for the researchers. This information is given or not. We will go to the F paragraph. Synthetic dyes suffer from a serious drawback. However, neural tissue is composed of many different cell types. So there is no particular mention of this fifth question, that is the vital defect synthetic dyes possesses is the most challenging obstacle. So there is a no mention. There is a mention that there is some problem, but only problem is synthetic dyes possesses, that is not given. So this information is not given because the whole information is not given. Next question number 6 to 10. They are the question that which paragraph contain the following information. Sixth question is, a sea creature producing light triggered by certain genes. That a sea creature. Where is a mention of sea creature that producing light triggered by certain genes? Sea creature, we have already discussed a sea creature, that is jellyfish, and that was in the last paragraph. We have underlined that word. There is a jellyfish that makes fluorescent protein. So there is a mention of sea creature, so we will tick the answer H. Next, seventh question is, the first attempts to make a great idea come true. What is the first attempt that is make for some idea to come true? The mention of this information is in D paragraph, that enchanting the loom attempts to turn Sherrington's vision into reality began in the earnest of the 1970s. So idea begins in early 1970. So there is a mention. So the answer will be seventh question answer will be D. Eighth question, the reason to explain the failure of synthetic dyes. Reason to explain the failure of synthetic dyes. So where is the mention of synthetic dyes? That is in F paragraph. Synthetic dyes suffer from a serious drawback, and synthetic dyes stain all the cells. synthetic dye stain all the cell. Types indiscriminately. So this is a mention drawback why they fail with synthetic dyes. So the mention is in F paragraph. Ninth question is difficulty in observing how the whole set of neurons works. Difficulty in observing that how the whole set of neurons work. The mention of this is in B paragraph. Understanding that although the Sherrington probably didn't realize at the time, the poetic metaphor contained an important scientific idea, that of the brain revealing its inner workings optically. Understanding how neurons work together, thoughts, behavior remains one of the most difficult open problems. So this is the mention that is the most difficult open problems. So the mention is in B paragraph. B paragraph. 10th question is the visual indicators to show how information is handled in and between cells in the brain. The visual indicators that how to information is handled in and between cells in the brain. That is in the paragraph. That is in the paragraph. Maybe it is in the paragraph E. The visual means some sort of videography. So there is a particular mention in E paragraph that dyes can also neural firing. There is a mention these optical reporters. There is a mention of reporters have provide extraordinary valuable opening new windows. There is a mention of reporters. So the answer will be there is a videography or there is a video visualization. The synonym is used. The information is in E paragraph. Now we have the next question that are 11 to 13 blanks. Complete the following summary of the paragraphs of reading passage using no more than 3 words. From the reading passage for each answer, write your answers in the boxes 11 to 13 on your answer sheet. So here is a particular mention that using no more than 3 words. You can use 1 word, you can use 2 word, you can use 3 word, but you can't use more than 3 words. So synthesized by enzymatic machinery, dash plays as vehicle for the information flow between cells. So when you have this sort of fill in the blank, you have to read before and after the blank. That synthesized by enzymatic machinery dash plays with what thing that plays a vehicle for the information flow between the cells. So the mention is in G paragraph. Maybe the mention is in G paragraph that neurons that release the neurotransmitter dopamine when they fire, for instance, need the enzymatic machinery for making and packaging dopamine. So what is the vehicle for neurons? That is dopamine. That is dopamine. Next, protein is the ingredient of encoding the required protein. Protein is the ingredient for enzymatic machinery. So first it needs genes in the charge of encoding the required protein. Dash before the neurotransmitter is produced. So what type of charge of encoding that required the protein before the neurotransmitter is produced? The information needs genes in charge of encoding the required protein. The information is given in the D paragraph. The information is given in the D paragraph that genes encoding the protein components of this machinery are the switched on in dopamine producing neurons. Switched on. They are switched on. In this paragraph, we got our information fluorescent dyes. So we will answer this question that we will read the question twice. What is the question? That protein is the ingredient of enzymatic machinery. So first it needs genes in charge of encoding the required protein dash before the neurotransmitter is produced. What will they do? They will switch on. They will switch on. The answer is they will switch on, and the location of this answer is in D, or we have already discussed this information here, that genes encoding the protein components of the machinery, are the switched on in dopamine producing. Next we have 13 question. This dash can be used to differentiate the dopaminergic neurons from the non-dopaminergic counterpart, with a premise that the dye is a protein after transfer process. This dash can be used to differentiate. Which can be used to differentiate? We will look at the paragraphs. In the paragraph, there is a mention of signals that if a biological switch that turned a dopamine making gene